Hi, you are listening to The Integral Being with Irina Childs, author, leader and educator and the founder of Integral Studies Academy. This is the educational podcast that brings together spirituality and leadership, science and art, creativity, yoga and innovation. Thank you for listening in. It's a podcast for people wanting to learn how to reach the peak of human potential and live the integral happy life that you are born to live. I'm delighted to share with you the steps to take you there, as well as clear strategies and esoteric knowledge that can support your everyday life and work by transforming your perspective, taking you from unanswered questions to clarity, from a multitude of opinions to wisdom and unifying reality. So, in the previous podcast, I have presented a few elements about the first layer of consciousness in the human being, and I'll continue to do the same with the second one today. These are only reaching the surface, but hopefully can give you an understanding of the universe that they control and the influence they have on our well-being and overall life. The general idea is that the predominant center of consciousness that's most active in our being can give us certain perspective in life, certain qualities and tune of life, and this is in direct correlation with the level of our social integration, perception of others in a context, with intelligence, capacity to be empathic, and so on. So these are unique combinations and depend on many factors like upbringing or education, but what is clear from many years of research and practice is that every single one of us perceives reality depending on how we have activated and energized our centers of consciousness inside our being. This will make more sense as we go through all of them. And in fact, you don't even need to know you have one of those resonators in your being for them to do their work. This is literally a bit like the working of your heart. You don't need to know you have one of those for it to work. Babies, for example, don't even know the word for the heart, yet their heart works. But when it doesn't work, when any organ or part of our body works badly, then you become aware of it. Firstly, because you are missing something, or because your life, your quality of life is being disrupted. And secondly, as you may seek a doctor's help, you go to the GP and they start to tell you more and more about the organ, and you gain a deeper understanding of a topic that was, let's say, not your priority until that moment. It is the case with most of our bodies, unless you are of a profession that's interested in the topic, or if you are an athlete, for example, when you start to know more and more about your own body. In younger age, nobody cares much about their bodies, and less so about the level of consciousness. But as we age, the bodies make themselves heard more and more, and as such, we develop more understanding on the topic. As with regards to the layers of consciousness, in reality, some awareness is already existing in you on the topic. Otherwise, this might present no interest whatsoever. It will start when everything else fails, basically, and you want a deeper sense of purpose in your life, a more profound meaning. That's when we actually look to understand the bigger picture. And this is where those series of podcasts come under the bigger picture and what's behind the scenes, or what is the unseen, the unexplained, necessarily by science. Even though science have actually started to make correlation and started to prove the existence of these centers, even with Kirlian photography and so on. So, to our topic. The second layer of consciousness is called Swatistana Chakra. It is based in the lower abdomen, about 4 finger breadths below the navel, approximately over the area of our sexual organs, and it is connected with the element of water, being in continuous process of occult resonance with the energy of the subtle energy of water and the infinite cosmic energy that feeds it, which is Swatistana Chakra. I spoke more about the resonance in some of the previous episodes, so you can just delve into that to get a little bit more acquaintance with this process. But if we make the analogy with the Abraham Maslow pyramid of needs, this is the second layer of the pyramid, and the psychological needs that are met here are all the aspects of social self-worth, the needs of social integration, having a career, making something of yourself at the social family level, and also the appearances. How do we appear in the front of the world or in the perception of others? So it's a little bit, if you think it's an element of water, it's the reflection aspect. So how do we reflect in the society and how do others perceive us? Acquiring a physically fulfilling relationship, establishing a family, having a good job, keeping up with the Jones, feeling part of a community, the social belonging and the establishment of our social position in the world as we know it, all of those are governed by this center. A disharmonious energy at this level will show up in life as a variety of aspects. It can range from social anxiety, the incapacity to form friendships, having mental doubts, fears or phobias that are linked to the sexual energy, being afraid of starting relationships or continuing them or enjoying them fully. It can show as the fear to be visible, fear of being judged or being vulnerable of what others think. Also the fear of success or the fear of failure is also residing around this area, because again it's the reflection that our existence has on the society and on others and how others relate to us. These are all aspects of an imbalance of receptivity. Also, an imbalance of too much energy at this level can translate in agitation, irritability, absent-mindedness, sexual frustrations, chronic low back pain, or ovarian cysts, and other reproductive issues that are connected with this center. On the other side, too little energy at this level can lead to a constant suspicious mind, tiredness, fatigue, a very low capacity to regenerate, a low capacity to relax, low libido, or even the incapacity to allow ourselves to enjoy life fully. So this center is, each center actually has a taste that's connected to it. And this center has the taste that is sweet. So if you think of the sweetness of life, if some of that has gone, then this is the center that is the culprit. This center, it's actually around the pleasures that life has to offer us, about the joy of life, the enjoyment. If you find yourself being frugal in some respect with this enjoyment of life in your own situation, that could mean you need to work and bring more balance at this level. Either like receptive aspect or emissive aspect, so like minus or plus. Each center has this aspect of feminine energy and masculine energy. And I'd say even with the plague of our century, which is the constant overworking, this is actually a global imbalance at this level, giving too much focus on pleasing a boss, pleasing a company, having a certain social rank or status, to the detriment of life as a whole. Equally, living on handouts or being socially reclusive or not integrated properly in any form of shape shows a level of immaturity at this level. As with all the aspects of life, one should be able to experience a balance. So a balance is actually when we receive energy at that level and we also give back energy at that level. Relax and enjoy life. Have time away for yourself. This is the case of overworking, right? Walk by the river, go to the seaside, eat that sweet cake now, and then if it brings you contentment and happiness, have that bubbly bath, give yourself the time to regenerate properly, and days when you actually take life slowly. We are allowed to enjoy life. In fact, we ought to beam with happiness every day. It's not a luxury, absolutely not. This is part and parcel of being alive. Unless this second center of consciousness is well balanced, it is hard for a person to have a harmonious amount of pleasure, enjoyment, a sense of belonging to the relationship or the society they're in. This center is also considered to be the center of pure erotic energy, and you can easily understand how someone who either has too much or too little energy at this level, the erotic energy level, will encounter some sort of, an array of situations. The very good news is that all of these aspects mentioned here can be improved, and any excess energy or lack of it can be balanced, right? So it's not like this is the doom and gloom and what are we going to do about it. There are postures in yoga, so those are all elements that I'm presenting. Even the knowledge of the chakras is a knowledge that came down the line for over 2,000 years through the yoga traditions, and the yoga postures called asanas can help with the energization of these centers. And once Swatistana chakra is properly awakened, energized, and harmoniously activated, a sense of delight and happiness of life is flowing through our lives easily and fluidly. We actually experience this state of fulfillment and abundance, both within ourselves and also at the social level. And this delight is felt at the physical, mental, emotional levels. This energization takes place through the process of occult resonance that I've explained in a previous podcast, and it's the resonance with the infinite energy of the Swatistana chakra, or the cosmic center of creativity and erotic energy, which is transferred through awareness, through attention, through the correct physical posture into our inner universe. And in this way, we take what we lack from the infinite source of that energy, in the same way a radio, for example, will tune in to the radio station that plays a certain song, and once tuned in, will also be able to transmit that sounds, right? So this process of resonance allows us to absorb inside our inner universe these energies and to stabilize them and influence our own lives for better. The person who is in this way harmonizing this second layer of consciousness in their being is continuously able to enjoy pleasures, regeneration, youth, like even everlasting youth. So when you see someone that looks young, much, much, much younger than their age, so someone who, let's say, is in their 70s and they look like they're in their 50s, or they're in their 50s and they look like they're in their 30s, they're definitely having this center very well and nicely activated and working properly. A harmonization at this level, you're also able to control your creativity and sexual energy. So when this center is well activated and balanced, the person enjoys a very good emotional and mental health, because a balanced second chakra can provide emotional strength, like letting go of any fear and anxiety related to the social scenarios, being able to feel good in our own skin, to let go of self-judgment and any preconceived ideas, and in fact of judging and criticizing others, because there's also a dual aspect. People who have a tendency to be very harsh on themselves, they also have a tendency of criticizing others pretty hard. So successful people have the center activated, and when I mean successful, I mean socially successful people have Swatistana chakra activated and awakened, as well as the first center, Muladhara chakra, because the social integration and the capacity to form stable and rewarding relationships is essential in any social success. When it is very harmoniously activated, the person is able to impact others very strongly through charisma. And one good example of someone who had the level of consciousness at this level is Marilyn Monroe. If you know of the beautiful actress, she was extraordinarily charismatic. So generally people who have this center well activated, they have a very good amount of charisma. They're able to influence others and enable communities to be creative and to expand. When such a person is overpowering, they can become overly critical. They could even make rude or inappropriate jokes. Another way to balance this center is by reconnecting with nature using the element of water. So having a swim, a walk by the river, a deep dive in the ocean, a scuba dive, or snorkeling, or even petting a cat. You'll start thinking of petting a cat, how is that related to water? Well, animals have a certain resonance that can be associated with chakras, and cats are through their nature connected with the second chakra of sensuality and relaxation. So if you just think of a cat, you can imagine her stretching a lot, just being very, very sensual in all her movements, and also very, very soft and relaxed. So that's kind of like qualities of this center as well. Nature therapy is also one of the most available and effective ways of healing our whole being. So when we spend a lot of time indoors, we can lose our nurturing connection with nature. And the lack of exposure to natural elements can be physically and mentally draining. And this can lead to anxiety, lack of self-worth, and imbalance that can be remedied when we take a long soaking bath, or, for example, we can walk in the rain, for example, especially in the summer days. In conclusion, when the Swatistana chakra is awakened and the energy is flowing freely, this brings positivity in all social aspects of our lives. A healthy and balanced second chakra creates a strong connection to our sensuality, to the pleasure of life itself. It improves our overall sense of hope and well-being and increases the sense of fulfillment. And I'm going to leave you with 10 beneficial affirmations that can help strengthen your connection with your second center and layer of consciousness. The first one: I enjoy my sensuality and I feel free to express it. The second one: I'm creative and feel very happy to share my ideas, being content with my self-worth. The third one: I enjoy other people's success as much as I enjoy my own. The fourth one: I'm grateful for all my beautiful relationships and I nurture them with much care. The fifth one: I have very good boundaries socially and I enjoy success in my life. The sixth one: I love my family and I take care of our well-being. The seventh one: I'm ready to let go of relationships that no longer serve me, to relax and flow with life fully. The eighth one: I can regenerate easily and I feel peaceful in the company of others. The ninth one: I feel grateful every day and enjoy the sweetness of my life. And the 10th one: I can control my passions and I can use the energy creatively for the benefit of others and for Thank you for your attention. If you'd like to know more, join our awesome community called Integral Being. Just go to facebook.com/groups/Integral Being. Alternatively, you can get hold of my free guide and relaxation audio on how to go from stressed to refreshed that can be found on integralstudies.co.uk. Thank you for listening to Integral Being Podcast, the voice of Integral Studies Academy.